and entrepreneurial leadership. So now all of your presence makes this event even more special, and I'm grateful to have each and every one of you here. Uh, Now I'd like to bring attention to our guest, Mr. Eben Ephraim, and for information, he's a seasoned and accomplished startup enabler with over 10 years of experience in incubating and accelerating deep tech and sustainability startups. Mr. Eben is highly skilled individual with expertise in operations, community building, and policy development, and a proven track record of success. And he's a strategic thinker with excellent interpersonal skills and partnership, business planning, and also innovation. Mr. Evan has a deep understanding of the startup ecosystem and a passion for making a positive impact. He's skilled at mobilizing investments, grants, and CSR funds, and he has a strong portfolio of accomplishment in the field. Also, he has a range of technical skills, including CRM, professional use of social media, presentation, product designing, and rapid prototyping and IPR. He's also has a wealth of experience and expertise in operations, um, community building, policy development, and innovation, and is highly effective in partnership, business planning, and investment mobilization. Now, I would like to hand over to Mr. Eben, who will be leading the further of the meeting.
Thank you so much, Eben, for joining us on such a short notice. So, just to give you a background, these are all undergrad students at LNMIT with engineering background, and they all have they are bubbling with ideas, and they're looking for thinking about building their own companies or registering themselves at some place. So they have some sets of questions for you. But before that, we would like you to share in brief, what all the options that are available for you. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me for doing the session. So I hope like everyone is students here or faculty. Like how many faculties
As
are there?
students, most of them are students.
Okay, okay. So I wanted to make this more interactive. Like if you have any questions, you can ask me anytime. Happy to answer. So even for me, I started as a student entrepreneur back in 2009. So that time, like there was no actual incubation systems available in India, and like that, we were struggling to figure out how we can register our company and all. So I can like relate much more how your thoughts are. So in India, like as you all know, like India is more like making ease of doing business in a bigger way, but at the same time there are challenges in the system right now, like with the compliance side. And like as you know, like we have almost 90,000 startups in India, and everyone is registered entity. So if you want to be a startup in India, like you need to be a registered entity, and like I'll come to that point, like how you can register into the, like how you can be that so-called startup, what is the definition of being a startup and all. I'll come to that point. But before that, I just wanted to give you a brief on what I was doing earlier and like why I am able to help you to do this. So I build my own companies, like almost five my own companies, which is into electronics, FMCG, healthcare, and travel earlier in my life. And I build almost like 25 plus incubators, which is helping any idea level companies to idea level founders to build their own companies. So that is what I was doing, and currently I'm doing. And I also help companies to incorporate abroad, like Sweden, Belgium, UAE, Canada, US. We take care of all the registrations. I travel all these countries, and I made relationship, and I have my people who can do able to register. So like being a startup, like you it's not only like in India you can register, you can register in anywhere across the globe. So that is the easiest way. Like I'll tell you like few thoughts about it. And I believe in impact. Like I'm spending like this 1 hour with you, like making sure like this gonna create some level of impact. So I'll expect like you to give like more feedbacks on, or like even on the content which I'm bringing to you. And coming to the like why it is important, it is mostly the compliances part is like tougher. Like you start something and like you started billing, and later your income tax people gonna chase you later, if you once you start making money, or like GST people gonna like in India, like you can sell, you can do things only with having GST. So this all makes why it is important. So compliance aside, in India it is tougher, so it is always good to start in the right way of doing it. And in India, like we have like this type of companies. Like if you see, there is sole proprietorship. Like if you want to do something like by your own, like it can be a tea shop, or it can be a small business, then, and you don't have any other partners to join for this business, you can do as sole proprietorship. Mostly the kirana stores and all would have taken licenses under sole proprietorship. So this is one type of company, or like one type of business which you can register. And for this registration, you just need to go to the panchayat office, and like you can just do the registration, grama panchayat, or like your local self government body can do this. Second is like partnership. So every state have a partnership registration format. And like this is like if you have like two or three people joining together to build a business, then you can do that. And I'll come to into the detail part of it, like how, why each of them are good and bad. And then you have like limited liability partnership, then like one person company, private limited company, public limited company, section company. How many of you heard all these terms earlier in your life? Like if you can put in the chat or raise your hands, it will be great. Like any of these, if you haven't heard, like you can tell that me in the chat. Have you heard of sole proprietorship, partnership, limited liability, LLP, OPZ, public limited and section 8 company earlier in your life? Okay. You haven't heard of section 8 company, Naman. Okay. You please, it will be great like if you can be responsive, so I can see only like few of them raise.
Guys, you can speak also, not an issue.
Yeah, yeah, you can speak also.
So heard about all the company except Section 8 company.
Okay, thank you, Naman. Anyone else? So I'm just moving to the next. So I'm
Yes,
going to
I have
deep.
heard about it.
Tell me, Harsh.
You asked like, do we know the types of company that you told us about? So yeah, I have heard of these name in some article.
Got it. Thank you, Harsh. So going into the detail, like each companies. So first one is like sole proprietorship. Like if you have only one single owner in the business, but all the liabilities will be on you, who is going to do the business. Like even if you do some some miscompliances, or like if you miss something, entire liability goes to you. So this is making it more tougher. And like it's a simple registration process. Like you just need to do the shop, and like you just need to do the GST registration and establishment registration under your legislative, or like local government thing. And it have like no complaints, or like minimal complaints. You just need to keep your accounts and a bank account, that's it. And it is always good for a small scale business which doesn't have a bigger operational challenges and all. If you do a sole proprietorship, it is very tough to raise money, because like you are the only owner of the business. So any doubts on sole proprietorship? Mostly kirana shops and all will be sole proprietorship. Any doubts? Okay. Like if you don't have any doubts, like you can put no in the chat, so at least I can feel that like you are responding, you are listening. Like if you don't have any doubts on sole proprietorship, you can put no in the comment. Yeah, no in the chat box. I can see only like two, three. Yeah. Thank you so much. So, moving to the next type of company, which is partnership, where you have like two or more partners coming together to build a business, and it is comes under the Indian Partnership Act. Usually what happens like when you do this is mostly people who do manufacturing and all do partnership businesses, so they come together, they build a business, they register under partnerships act, and they share the profit and loss with themselves, like they don't have any other uh, like one who shares it. They give salaries, partners also take salaries some cases, and again it is liability for each of the partners. So if there is a breach or anything happens, like the person is liable for even the your individual assets can be attached to your company, and that is the biggest challenge. And you just need to do a partnership deed, which is available on internet. You can just download any partnership deed and just sign on a 500 to 1000, depending on the capital, you can sign on the agreement, like stamp paper, and that is how it is. And easy to form, like two of them just can come together and do this. And you like each state have a partnership body, you can also upload to your partnership deed to them, where you will get a certificate of registration or certificate of partnership from that. uh, Fundraising is tough here also, because like you cannot give equity. Scalability also tough, because like there is no other option to do the fundraising. So this is how the partnership matters, partnership companies are. Any doubts on partnership or any questions on partnerships?
So in partnership, is there is something kind of stakes, or it's a like contract, like we have 40% of like partnership, or in this stakes involved or other legal terms involved in
So
this?
like you can divide, the partners can divide it, how much capital that you're bringing, like you can divide that, one third of this business is belonging to you, one, like 50% is belonging to you. That type of wordings that you can bring, but
Hmm.
always like you will be liable to that percentage also.
Hmm. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Doubts on partnership? Thank you. Isn't it most riskiest kind of company? Yes, sole proprietorship is the most riskiest. And because uh, when it comes to partnership, again, like you have two or three partners, and if any one of them breaches, that will also have affects your personal belongings. So in that case, like, yes, it is riskiest in a way. uh, uh, Hope Arun got clarity on the answer, like question, right? Yeah. So coming to the next thing, uh, how many of you heard of LLP, limited liability partnership? Naman, can you give a few examples of LLPs that you have seen? Anyone, just open open your mic and speak. Like if any of you know earlier about a LLP that you're familiar with, you can just speak. Any type of company, any type of LLP that you any type of business that they do. But like if you know a LLP, how many of your parents are doing business? Like, can you raise your hands if you're one of your parents doing a business? Okay. Aryan, Naman, Dishant. I think like a lot of them. So, Dishant, can you tell me like what is your like parents' business is all about, and what is the registration?
Uh, Sir, it is of toys and clothes business actually.
Dishant, you're breaking.
So it's of toys and clothes. The business
Okay, toys. What is the registration type?
registration type, sir. It's not LLP as far as I know.
Okay, okay, thank you. Aryan, can you tell me like what is your parents do as a business? Aryan Shah. Harsh, you can also answer like what your parents do and
Uh,
what type of
so my
registration do.
father has a sole proprietorship kind of business in which we do something related to the manufacturing sector. So yeah, it's like proprietorship.
Okay, thank you. Harsh Dupia. I think like one more Harsh is there. Harsh Dupar.
Sir, my parents have what we say private limited, like.
Okay, private limited company. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Naman, what about you?
So we are into jewelry manufacturing and we operate on sole proprietorship.
Sole proprietorship.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, thank you so much. So, giving to like I thought like some of you will have a LLP earlier, so that's the reason I asked
So,
this question here. Yeah. LLP is actually a partnership itself, but it is like it have a limited liability. The normal partnership, the biggest challenge is the liability part. So like if one of the partners breach something or do some miscomplaints or some fraudulent activities and all, it is liable for all the partners involved. So in that case, like this really help to limit the liability. So here the company will be a separate entity, and the partners won't be liable for any of the activities the company which is doing. They will be like limited liability in terms of the capital or on the uh, like risks side of also. So this is also flexible management structure. It is more easier to do this, and annual filings and complaints is required, like as like a privately limited company or any other company. Like annually you need to file to MCA about your audited budget sheets, tax and all. And it is always good for people who do service, like if you're doing a consultancy service with 2 or 3 people, then LLP will be one of the suitable mode of doing it. And also like if you do some services like if you're doing a web development service company or a auditing service company, then LLP will be suitable. Yes ma'am, please, Shilma.
A lot of time, some of these students come and ask about like, between sole proprietorship and LLP, what should we choose? What would be our expenses? How much would be, because we are in very initial stage and we want to form a company. So whether we should go for sole proprietorship and then can it be converted into LLP, or we should begin our startup with LLP? That is a usual question I'm getting these days from these
Got
students.
it, got it. I'll come to that point because like I have a slide on the costing part for sure. I'll speak on the costing part. But yes, you can convert any type of company to any type at any point of time. Like if you want to convert a sole proprietorship to a private limited company, yes, you can do that. If you want to convert a partnership to limited liability partnership, yes, you can do. If you want to convert a like private limited company to a public limited, yes, you can do that. So and like the costing part, I'll tell you depending on each of the companies. But you can convert from one to other, but it is always good to start as a like if you are planning as a startup which is a scalable business, and like if you want to raise money from outside, it is best to I'll give you the best options what can be. So coming the next type of company, it is one person company. This is also comes under Companies Act. It is actually sole proprietorship, uh, structured in a NDT manner. So this is also limited liability for owner. Like in sole proprietorship, the biggest challenge is like liability always goes to the owner. So it is always good, like if you have some scalable business, or like if you want to do a individual business which is also wanted to compile like compliances based and all, then it is always good to have a one person company. And you need to convert one person company to private limited company if the business or like a new partner comes in, or if the business goes more than 50 lakh per annum, I think. So this is how so one person company is actually like if you don't have any other partners, any other co-founders, but still you want to do a business on a limit like liability way, then this is the best way of doing it, like one person company. But I never suggest you to do a one person company, because like at a point of time you need to convert that to a private limited company. I'll tell you what a private limited company is. So private limited company is the one of the best structures of doing business in India. So every private limited company can have like 2 to 200 shareholders, and like even whatever the company do, and any of these shareholders never is liable for it. So that makes it more better way of doing it. And it is a separate legal entity as a one person company and limited liability company. And then it have flexible managers, right? Like you just need to have like two directors or three directors, but at the same time you need to do the regular annual compliances part. Like you need to file audited statements, you need to like file everything to go MCA every financial year. So that's how the private limited company look like. So do you have any doubts on limited liability partnership, one person company and private limited company? Any questions regarding these three type of companies?
So, what is the actual difference between an LLP and private limited? Like
Didn't get
it's
you.
the difference between private limited and LLP.
What difference?
So, what are the differences like in LLP? We also have partnership and stakeholder kind of thing, and in private limited also we have same structure.
Okay. So LLP is actually limited liability. Like if you're putting like 10,000 rupees into the company, you are only liable for 10,000 rupees.
Okay,
But if you come into the private limited company, like the founders are not even liable for whatever they're not putting. Like you have a like safer side for it always. And here you have a percentage share structure. Like you have a shareholders. In LLP there is no shareholding, it is partnership only. Like two people come together to build something.
and so what about the fundraising in LLP?
Fundraising in
How?
LLP is tougher. Fundraising for private limited company is more easier. So if you take the 9,000 startups in India, uh, like 90,000 startups in India, mostly 89,000 will be
Private
private
limited.
limited companies only.
Yeah. Mm,
Because like investors like would like to have a private limited company always,
mm, yes, sir.
because like this makes more the start take how the ownership can be like changed, everything like more easier in the private limited company.
Got it, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
please.
so, like, if we have to build a LLP first because we are coming just as a partners, but later, if we plan to shift it to private limited, can that happen?
Yeah, yeah, that I told earlier, right? Any type of company can be converted to any type. So partnership, like even if it's a registered partnership, that you can convert into a private limited company later.
Oh, okay, got it. And also, like in the initials, we have to build a bank account where there would be money. So, is there any minimum limit that we have to keep this much amount of money in the bank account?
So that depend on the service, like bank service provider that you're choosing. Like mostly every bank right now like offering startups 0%, like zero bank balance accounts mostly. So Dosho Bank of Singapore is one of the banks which I usually suggest, because like it is always good to go with a uh, uh, like new age bank, because like they don't have a physical office, like physical structure and all, so that makes more easier to do the business. So like if you see like I can show like a lot of new age bankers which do startup accounts, like even startup uh, like State Bank of India have a uh, startup solution, like startup bank account. State Bank of India have something called startup branch, which you
Okay,
can do.
sir. Thank you so much.
So this always help you to open a startup bank, like startup bank account. But like any type of company, you need a current bank account.
Oh, okay.
So like any type of company that you do, you need to have a uh, current account. So I just share you, like as you ask, like so this is something called DBS, where they do like zero setup fee, and like a lot of good startups do. And again there is another one is like SBI also have a like startup branch thing. Then like if you go to do IDFC First Bank, they also have a startup bank account. It's all nil account for 3 years. So you can
Oh,
see any of these, uh, and like happy to do connections with this banks, because like they all work remotely and virtually. I'm happy to connect because I work closely with all these banks startup departments. So coming to the next point, so the next type of company in India is like public limited company. So public limited company is actually like if once you go the initial public offering, like once you list in the stock market, then that type of companies are we call as public limited company, where you will have like uh, most like you can do raise money through public offerings. It have like a lot of compliances. It is always good for large scale businesses. So even like these days we have SME listing. So if you are like even a small scale company, you can do SME listing in the Bombay Stock Exchange. So there are scopes for doing a limited, sorry, scope for doing a listing for even a smaller SME, small scale business. Uh, Hope you are clear till now.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Any questions? Uh, like you can type in the chat also, like if you have any questions. So basically, there is one more type of company. Have you heard of section company earlier? How many of you heard of section company earlier?
No, sir.
Nobody. Okay. So there is a company, there is a type of company which is called Section 8 company, and it is basically for doing type of like charitable work, or like if you're doing something like uh, like if you're doing something like charity, NGO, non-governmental activities, research activities, where you are not making profits, your intention is to like create more impact, then it is always good to go with a Section 8 company. But this is always you need to have a social, educational, or charitable objectives when you do this company. Any of these owners cannot, like directors or partners cannot take the profit or dividend out of this company. So that is another big challenge. It is having like a lot of tax exemptions. Like if you heard of ATG, 12A, you don't need to do like all other type of companies, you need to pay like 30% of corporate tax here, or 18% of GST and all. Here it is all exempted. So this is why Section 8 company differs from other type of company. Any of you have an idea to do a business which is creating impact? Yeah, please go ahead, man.
So, for example, here itself, we have one of the students' team who is working basically on a knowledge creation on, medical related issues. Say, for example, cancer, or let's say any disease. So they are curating lot of data and information and want to build a company around it. So they are a little confused that whether they should go for a Section 8 company or they should go for a society.
Nowhere it can, like it is always good to go do a Section 8 company rather doing a society.
But then they were thinking in terms of compliances and in terms of monetary.
Society also will have the same type of compliances.
So in terms of society versus Section 8, you would recommend that we should go for.
Always. So non for profit you can do like three-way.
Hmm.
One is like Section 8, second one is society, third one is trust.
Right.
Out of this three, always, like if you're doing some social impact work, then it is always good to do uh, a Section 8 company anytime, any day.
But why not a society?
Reason, society, you cannot do external fundraising. You cannot do a bilateral fundraising. You cannot get a government grant to a society. So, like that case, like this is more easier.
Mhm. Got it.
So, any other doubts till now? Section company usually goes with like as you rightly said, like if you doing some research activities and all, it is always good to do a section company. But section company also need to have a clear revenue making way for a longer term sustainability.
So I have an interesting problem. This is with my previous assignment. We formed a Section 8 company as a private incubator with limited liability.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the challenge was it was a private incubator. So and we got ATG and 12AA.
Oh,
Now with that we're not able to take equity from startups since we are a private incubator.
okay. So that can be solved only way, like if an incubator want to take equity, the
Hmm.
only way is to do a private limited company. If it's a private incubator which is
Yeah,
not
because
recognized,
we were not DST funded. We were not
like if you are not a like government recognized incubator,
the
then
income.
the way is a private limited company to take equity.
No other way out.
No other way out till now. If only one way is like getting a recognition from the government.
Either we need to get recognition from government, or if we forego ATG and 12AA, then also we cannot take equity, right?
Then you can take equity. So this is a particular case, right? So
Yeah,
I can give you so you have a ATG and 12AA, and
yeah.
you registered a company,
Yeah.
and it's a private limited company. No,
Private incubator.
it's a private incubator as a Section 8 company.
Yes.
Okay, so here you can take equity,
Mm-hmm.
but
Can we separate books of accounts and take equity? What's the way out, because with the income tax norm, we realize that we cannot take in equity because there has to be that DST word. It's a gray area, I understand. But then, in terms of being very clean, in terms of your books of accounts and everything, we were not able to figure out any clause. And that is what, again, here at LNMIT, we are struggling since it's Mr. Mittal's institute. So we are not really going for a government funding for sure. We want to become a private incubator.
So if it's a private incubator, always a private limited company.
So but then private limit. So okay, so then you're saying we then in private limited company, won't you think it would be difficult in case if we are looking for some external grants, etc.?
Government grants is not possible. That's only challenge.
So it's like you have to.
Another solution will be like registering two entities in the same name, a Section 8 company and a compliance. So there I'll come, like how much is the cost for compliances?
Right.
So when you do a private limited company or a Section 8 company or a LLP, the annual compliances will be somewhere around 14,000 rupees.
Okay.
One for doing the government compliances cost. This is actually the cost of it. And like if we can bear for three companies, it is always good to have like three type of companies. Like one for taking equity and another one for doing the government grants and like activities and all.
But can we do that in the same name, having two registered companies?
Yes, possible. IIT Madras Research Park have like 4 entities.
For the same name?
Yeah.
And that's how they are doing it, that separate private incubator versus, incubation equity and all those things. Then
like incubation equity, they can take it into the incubator because they are DST recognized. But like for managing each of the activities, they have separate entities. So if you are sure that like you are making good money, it is always good to register.
Okay, then coming, why we were contemplating on, so management want to contemplate, since you have also worked with BITS Pilani. So BITS Pilani is still a society, right? And,
So BITS, what happened? PIDES is registered long back.
2013, I know.
So that time, like there was no like bigger like.
But then how they are managing now? How they are taking equity?
So BITS is taking equity as a shareholders agreement.
Okay, but when the happens,
so the exit haven't happened in BITS Pilani, so that is the biggest challenge, right? Like once they have exit someone, so the only way is like founders can buy back the shares issued to the incubator in the round of funding.
So then somehow they also have to get into that mode of Section 8 now.
Who?
BITS Pilani also, in case if they are looking
No,
for
like I don't think, because like we have almost 4 or 5, like we have Section 8 companies also. PIDES is a like PIDES or Biggies or other one is like societies, but we have Section 8 companies inside BITS. BioCTH is a Section 8 company inside BITS. TBI Hyderabad is Section 8 company.
Okay.
So like it is always good to have like different type of entities for doing different type of activities.
Okay. Any incubator also you know that who has a private limited company also?
Yeah, AIC Race, which I was doing earlier, like I built earlier, it was a private limited company. And we also got government grants.
Even within the private limited company?
Yes. Because the AIC scheme was mentioning about corporates. Like even corporates can apply for it. So that's how we got it. So completely depending on the type of company is always matters for. But in terms of taking equity, it is always good to get a government recognition.
So
government recognition, I'll tell you a loophole in India right now. Even a village panchayat recognize you as a incubator for that region, then you become a government recognized incubator. Now there is no DST recognized. It is government recognized incubator or a state government recognized incubator.
Oh, state government recognized incubator will do. Let's say
that's what I'm saying. Like local government municipality approves you as an incubator, then that also like you can showcase and take equity. Like you are government recognized.
Oh, so that will
this is actually the gray area in the law.
Long. Okay. And as I was mentioning, the case with my previous organization, so there can we do that shareholder agreement?
Yeah. Like if you can give me more details about the case,
Mhm.
then I will be able to give you
Yeah.
specific
This
inputs on it. Because
company.
like I have companies which did exits from incubators.
Okay.
Like we did, like we make, like if you take the IIT Madras case, like they have Unifor is one of their portfolio company, and
Right.
then when they exited, they got like 530 crore out of it, 6% of shares.
Mhm.
So it's a Section 8 company or like which is like incubator who did the exit. There are like a lot of other incubators who did exit, so it is always good. Like Birak is a Section 8 company which is exiting from companies.
Mhm. No, certainly. Off the call, I'll share that, and if you can,
Yeah. Happy to answer that
thank.
questions.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So coming to costing part, I'll just mentioned about roughly an idea about it, but mostly when it comes to a sole proprietorship, it will be somewhere around like 1,000 rupees, where you do a stamp paper of 1,000 rupees. uh, Partnership, depending on the partnership capital that you're putting, so it can be starting somewhere around from like 5,000 to 10,000 rupees to start the company. LLP government fees is somewhere around 9,400, and like uh, the private limited company also, like if you are doing a stake of like a capital of 1 lakh rupees, then the cost is somewhere around 9,400, but like the CAs charge somewhere around 25,000, 30,000 on all. So for you, like those who are attending this call, happy to offer you a better cheaper price, like who never can do. Like I do companies starting from 4,000 rupees, private limited or LLP. I always suggest a startup to be a private limited or an LLP. I'll tell you the reasons why. Because like you want to do a uh, startup registration or startup India registration earlier in your life, if you want to be a startup. So in this, you need to incorporate it as a LLP or a registered partnership or a private limited company. And like if you want to raise money from outside, it is always good to have a private limited company. So by registering or like to registering the Startup India website, you need to be a private limited company or a LP or a partnership, and this have like lot of government grants, tax exemptions, patent funding, like even like you can travel to foreign on a government delegations and all. It's all available through this Startup in the registration, so it is always good you to do the Startup in the registration. Like how you can do it, just go to the Startup India portal. There is a like you need to do a user account there, and then fill the startup application form, upload the required documents, and then you can apply for the uh, registration. So this is something which you always do it. So I can just show you like how you can do it. Like if you go to this website, startupindia.gov.in, if you go to the recognition,
Are
uh,
you sharing the screen different? I can see Section 8 company on the screen.
I'm sharing the Startup India website only.
Can't see.
And it's visible.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Oh, मुझे नहीं दिख रही क्यों? All right, please go ahead.
Yeah. So if you go here, you can go like why the DIPP recognition, like it help you to get like self certification. So recently I had a case, like one of the company came for like they got a labor inspection, but like they had a DIPP registration. So the labor officer went back because till 3 year they cannot do the uh, inspection if you are a uh, uh, DIPP registered company. So like in India, it is tougher to do business sometimes. So it is always good to do a certification from DIPP, and it is always help you to get like lot of benefits, uh, like exemptions, uh, easy to wind up, uh, income tax benefits, tax exemptions for angel tax and all, and then patent, like you have benefits like fast track, rebate on filing and all. How we can do it? Like you just go and apply for DAPP, and you can like you can see here, right? You can do only two type, only apply as a company or apply as a partnership firm. Now you are clear, right? Why you have to do a section, like a private limited company. So section 8 company also a private limited company, which is having a section 8 in that MOA. So there is no other much difference between a private limited company and section 8 company. So you can always apply as a company or a LLP, or a registered partnership. You can just apply, and it will take you to an application form, and it's a single window system. So hope you are, and like when for applying, you need a document of registration and a write up about your business. So this is what you need. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So next thing is why you need to have a MSME registration. So there is something called MSME registration, which is for mostly like if you're doing a business in your very early stages, then that means that you are a micro, small, and medium scale in enterprise. So it is always good to do a MSME registration. MSME registration is actually another easier way of doing it, and it is also help you to do the access to a lot of schemes, subsidies, and all. So you can do in a way, you can just log into Udyam portal, and you can just provide your Aadhaar and PAN details of your company, and you can input your company name, like your bank account details and all, and then you will receive a something called Udyam registration number, which you can use it for any MSME purposes. So this is the two type of registrations that you need when you do start a business. Apart from your, like once you register your company as a private limited or a LLP or a partnership or a sole proprietorship, you also need to do a MSME registration or a Udyam registration. Also, you need to take a GST if you are doing business more than 20 lakhs. GST also you can do online. Like you can just go on website, and like you can do that. Any question till now?
So MSME registration are for those now who are doing some kind of manufacturing or some
No, like
machinery
even
related
if you're
thing.
doing a service, you can do MSME.
Oh, okay, sir.
Even if you're running an IT company, you can register under MSME.
So what is the like additional benefit of registering MSME if we are doing some service related thing?
So MSME have a like lot of good regulations under MSME law. So if the credit period, like if you are giving a service to someone, and like they need to do payment within 45 days, like if you are a registered
Hmm.
MSME, or MSME will pay you. You can get like lot of loans, debts, and all from the banks if you have a MSME registration.
Oh, okay, sir.
So like if you're doing fundraising apart from the like investor mindset, then you can or it is always good to have an MSME registration or a Udyam registration. Both are same only.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Any questions? So another question was like how much it will cost to do a registration of the company. Hope you can see the screen. I'll just so if you're doing a private limited company, then you need at least two directors. So every director need to have get a DIN, director identification number, which is costing 500 rupees as government fees. Then you need to have a digital signature, which is also costing somewhere around 1500 rupees. So and then you need to file a application for company name approval, like whether it's a private limited or a LLP. You need to file to government for a name approval, which is 1000 rupees. Then you need to have at least like a stamp paper to do the notary part, so that is also costing somewhere around like minimum 500 rupees, like depending on your capital it can be different. Then you need to file like form, uh, each of these forms, like company registration forms, uh, INC 7 form, it is 300 rupees, MOA, it is 2000 rupees, AOA, 300 rupees. So this all come together, like these are like register company like formation forms that you need to do. And for all this, like it comes around 3200 rupees. And then you have a stamp duty. So for a government, like for a company registration, the government fees itself comes around 9400 rupees. Hope you're clear.
Yes, sir.
And coming to like what can be the pre-incorporation things. So like for a LLP, you just need to pay 200 rupees for name reservation. But for a private limited company, it is 1000 rupees. So 800 rupees difference, right? Forms, like there are difference in forms. And like DIN, I already told you the cost, and number of promoters that I already discussed. Then we have MCA fees, which is for a company it is 131, but for an LLP it's a 500 rupees. So that cost is like matching some there itself, right? There it was 800, and like this 500 will be matching to that. So anywhere it comes around 7000 to 10,000 to do a private limited or a LLP registration purpose, and it takes minimum 7 days. Like in LLP it is shorter time, 3 to 5 working days, but in an private limited company it takes more time. And coming to the compliances part, like you need to do mandatorily 180 days you need to do compliances part. Like there are like mandatory forms which you need to fill. uh, in LLP it is 30 days from the LLP incorporation, but for uh, private limited it is 180 days. Both cases, like in private limited company you need to have an auditor from within 30 days, but in the terms of LLP, you like if you're making more than 40 lakh revenue only, you need to bring a auditor. And annual compliances, every 6 months you need to like within 6 months you need to file the annual compliances. And other one you need to file like every year mandatorily. And every year you need to do the director KYC, means like you need to submit your email ID, address proof, PAN card, everything to the MCA. and every year, like registers need to be like for a private limited company, you need to keep registered, registers and all. But in the terms of LLP, you don't need to keep all this like data. And
So,
provision.
the maintenance cost for these companies?
So both
Rough-
cases, like if you are appointing an auditor, it will be costing somewhere around 14,000, like 10,000 to 14,000 rupees.
Sir,
You
including
need to
all
audit.
audits and
Uh,
including all KYC.
need to do the audit. You need to do the all your bank into expenditure sheet. You need to maintain registers like stock register, all these kind of registers you need to keep. This all cost you somewhere around 1,400, like 14,000 maximum. And like there are auditors which charge like bigger money, but the government cost is somewhere around 10,000 to 14,000 depending on your transactions. Hope it is clear.
Sir, can you explain the mandatory form like in the previous slide? Mandatory form.
Because you don't need to bother. I'll tell you one thing, like if you want to start a company, you just need to choose like which type of company you want to do, because like
Hmm.
you don't need to deep dig into the type of compliances formats out, because like any day it will be done by a CA
So
or
actually, I already have a private limited. That's why I was just asking.
I can share you the presentation. Yeah,
Yeah.
later.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, I can share you the entire checklist also.
Thank you, sir.
I think like I have done with almost my knowledge about doing registrations in India. Any doubts you can answer, like I can answer to this your questions on my LinkedIn or on my WhatsApp number. Happy to answer. I used to write I write at least once in a week regarding all these questions answers on my LinkedIn. You can follow me on LinkedIn. Happy to. And any day I'm happy to give you an offer price for registering your company. I can do somewhere around 4,000 to 5,000 rupees to do a private limited company registration, and an annual compliances of like somewhere around 7,000 rupees, where itself government cost is itself is 9,400 rupees. But I'm happy to offer you this special discount to you. Any questions? I am available on usually on WhatsApp and LinkedIn. You can take my number and happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ebin. I'm sure, I mean, I personally got benefited, and I'm sure students would have also got a lot of insightful things out of this. And these are all queries, when you actually get into it, you realize, okay, I have this issue, that always comes to the mind. Um, but it was really insightful. Thank you so much for all your time. You're on mute, I think. I'm not able to hear you.
Okay, I'm just sharing like few links where you can like learn about how you can do the incorporation. Like government is like very uh, like expressive on like all these answers on their website. Like Ministry of Corporate Affairs manages the registration of companies, and you can like go to MCS website and learn about it. And about the startup India registration, I have shared the link for that also.
Right. And if possible, if you can share the presentation, I'll share
I'll
with
do
all.
I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll definitely do that.
Someone has question. Harsh, yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Yash. Harsh.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, I want to ask a question. Sir, most of the companies that I have either studied about or read about, sir, they register in Singapore or any country outside of India. So, what's the reason, if you can elaborate on this topics?
So you can register like Apple is registered in San Francisco. Like your company can be anywhere.
Okay. So,
So
sir,
like
like,
if
do
you
we get
want, if
any
you
rebates
like,
also?
but when you do business in India, you need to complain, like you need to follow the compliances of India. So
Okay.
Apple also have a Apple India. Like if you see uh, MCS website, like you can figure out like Apple India for sure.
Okay. And sir, with the different types of liabilities, like what you have mentioned in your slides, it comes with different amount of risks. So if like I am starting a company solely on my like my discretion, so is it better to register in the sole? What I
No,
can say?
like if you want to register, like uh, register your company, and if you want to make sure like you have only uh, you don't need to take money from outside like investors money, then it is
Okay.
always good to do a private limited like if you want to raise money, it is always good to have a private limited company.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So I'll just show you like Apple is a registered company in US, right?
Yeah.
Everyone is sure, right?
Yes, sir.
At the same time, it have a Indian company called Apple India Private Limited, which is in India.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So if you're doing business in India, you need to be an Indian company.
Okay, sir.
You do you want to check other names? Microsoft will also have an Indian company.
Okay, sir. I
Got
didn't
it?
have knowledge about this. Okay, okay. Understood.
Like you can register your parent company anywhere,
Okay, okay, sir.
but like if you want to do business in India, you need to have a registered entity in India.
Okay.
What else? Like in any other companies, you want to check like whether it is in India or not. Like you mentioned about a Singapore company, right?
Um, like Etihad. No, sorry, it is off. Um, I can't remember at this point of time.
Okay. I think like even NASA have an Indian registration. I heard earlier in my life like NASA have an Indian registration.
Okay.
All these embassies, consulates are also like if they're doing any type of business, they are also registered in India.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
So there's one more question. What is the procedure for us to know the name of the company is available or not? You can check it on the MCS website, the name.
Yeah, yeah. I'll share that link also. So, like this is like when you register for a company, when you are applying for a name registration, you need to check before doing the filing, because like or else like you won't get the name.
True.
Thank you so much. Happy to have you all today with me, and like looking forward in
Thank
support.
you so much. I've
Thank
been
you.
Thank you very
wonderful
much, sir.
having you today.
So it was really insightful to learn about the different types of companies and which will be best option for to start for a startup, and how do we have initial know-how for the companies, how to minimize the risk. And sir, thank you so much. I learned a lot, and I hope it was really helpful for the audience too. And thank you so for joining, and all the audience as well. Thank you, Shinu ma'am. So thank you for making this a success.
Looking forward. So as I told earlier, like if you want to register the company, come to me. I can do for a half the price of what even government asks.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Bye
you,
bye.
sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jyoti. Bye bye.
Excuse me, मैम
Yes.
मैम अभी फ्री है आप अभी आ सकते हैं
Beta आज नहीं. We'll catch up tomorrow.
ओके श्योर मैम
All right. Thank you.
थैंक यू मैम